different ways of creating data visualizations in R. Data visualizations are really important because they can be used to communicate your data in a way that makes sense to other people and just makes your findings a lot clearer, I guess. In the article we read from Stephanie Evergreen, she cited a study that found a correlation of 0.91 between perceived beauty of a display and its usefulness. So people tend to find data more useful if it is displayed in a way that is pretty and easy to understand. So that's what I'm going to try to do today. I'm going to start with a bubble plot. To do this, I need the following packages. I installed Plotly because I did not have it already. I need ggplot2, which is kind of the main plotting package, and then dplyr, which is just kind of a form of data manipulation. I believe it is responsible for this piping little guy we have that basically like forwards whatever comes before it onto the next line of code or lines of code. Then I downloaded these two that have just pre-made color sets. And then lastly, I have Plotly, which will make my chart interactive. So, my plot interactive. So, we can go in by importing my data set. This is a data set that I got from Kaggle. It is simulated data, and I do not own it, to be clear. It's a really, really large data set. As you can see, there's 8,336 observations across 4 variables. And we can go ahead and look at it. It's broken up by department name, age, how long they've been with the organization, and how many hours that they've been absent total. So I'm going to bring that in and rename it data. Since it's so big, I wanted to just take a sample of it. So I used the set seed so that every time I do this, it'll give me the same result. It basically kind of saves the sample the random sample that it gives you so that you can recreate your results. So that's here. I took a sample of my data and the sample size is 50. So now if I run data, you can see, yeah, there's 50, and you can also see right here that it's down to 50 now. So that's cool, and we can move on to this making the most basic bubble plot, which is using ggplot. I'm using data, which I just made. I have AES right here, which stands for aesthetic mapping, and it describes how the data is going to be mapped out visually. So I'm just telling it that I want the x-axis to be length of service, the y-axis to be absent hours, and the size of the bubbles to be age. And then this geometric point, the alpha, well, this creates a scatter plot, which is basically like what the basis, the foundation of a bubble plot. And the alpha is going to be the transparency of the point. So if I put it at 1, it'd be pretty opaque, I guess. But since I know some of these will overlap, I want them to be somewhat transparent. So I'm going to run this. And as you can see, pretty boring. We've got a little legend here for ages. So people in their 20s are going to have these smaller dots like this guy right here, and people up to their 60s are going to have some of these bigger dots like this one maybe. So to start making these prettier, I'm going to keep some of the basic parts of this bubble plot, but I also want to adjust a few things, including the bubble size. Um, First, I'm going to arrange it by age and mutate by department. So basically, it's going to arrange in descending order by age, which is going to put the largest bubbles in the front, and then mutate them by the factor department name is going to allow us to kind of break them up by name. I don't know if this plot's actually going to show that, but in the next one it will. It'll show us which of these belong to which department, which is cool. So then I'm just going to run this kind of like I have it up here, all the same thing. And then scale size, this range is the area of the entire plot. So that's what this function does, and I'm specifying the range, which is of these points. So basically they can be on a scale of 1 to 10, depending on their age. And this is just telling it that it depends on the age. So you can run that. You can see the variations of the bubbles have gotten bigger. And that's pretty much all that's going on here. So it kind of updated this as well, the legend. So next, I'm going to add color, and that's where you're going to see this department being broken up by factors, which I think is a really helpful tool. So we'll go ahead and do that because it's the only change I made. This seems to be kind of and I added color by department name here, so that's where it breaks up that factor. Yeah, this is just kind of the standard colors that it chose. I didn't pick these. So this is where it gets a little bit more fun. All of this part has already been done. I replaced color with fill because I don't want to use the same colors that we just got. It's going to use this fill from that package I brought in. And I also added, the shape is number 21, which is actually just circles, but you know, if I put 5, it would be like a diamond. I was just playing around with it, but I wanted to stick with circles, so I put it at 21. I also added a title for fun, just service length by hours absent, and then a caption to show where I got the data from. This wasn't the last one, I just explained this. I was also playing around where I wanted the legend, but I decided on keeping it on the right side because it just looks cleanest there. Then I added this theme of black and white. It just kind of helped simplify it. I wanted to get rid of this weird gray grid in the back, as well as change the family of font, which I just went with serif because I like serif fonts. And I wanted to make them a little bit bigger, so the base size is going to be 15. And since it's in this theme section, it's just going to be overall. Then I changed the name of the Y and the X axes just because right now it's just going with with the name that it generated from my data set. So I wanted to make it, you know, 2 separate words. And yeah, so I'm gonna run that. Yeah, and I think that is a lot prettier. I like the colors and the font. You know, in a real organization, you might put, you know, the title of the organization here or something. But yeah, I like it. It's got these little color things that match and all of that. So I pretty much decided to just leave it here because I liked how it looked for the most part. Um, and then I went on to make it interactive because that sounded like fun. The interesting thing about when you use this piping tool and these plus signs and that dplyr package is that it all runs at once, which I know is the point of it, but um, in some ways I like it, in some ways I don't, but it does make the plot spit out really fast, which is nice in this case. So let's see what I have changed here. Basically, I wanted to create this text section. It's going to paste the following words because once it's interactive, I'll be able to put my mouse over it and it's going to show text. But if you don't tell it what you want it to say, it comes out a little bit hard to read and a little sloppy. So that's basically what is going on here. You also have to like add the space to the front, or they just all squish together as like one really long word, and you have to play around with it to make it actually look like a sentence. But it will work for you. You have to add that text in right here to show that that is part of your plot. This is all the same from the last one. Here I added name with nothing because we're actually going to lose the legend because we don't really need it because you can scroll over these and it will just tell you. So I just wanted to get rid of it, so I left that blank. Guide, yeah, because I wanted to get rid of all of this and it helps with that. Legend none, that also helps get rid of all of it. And then, yeah, I think that's all I changed. So I run it again and then I'm going to, I saved it as object P and then I'm going to run P in ggplotly and it's going to use my text I made here for the interactive part. And we end up with this, where you can scroll over it. This label next to it matches the color that you got. And you're able to look at the department name, what age they are, their length of service, and their hours absent. So pretty neat. That's all I have for this one. And I will see you on the next one.